Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cine-Bijou podcast. As you can see, the lights are dimming, the curtain is pulled back, and we're thrilled to pick up season 2 where we left off. From here on out, we'll be seeing you at least once a month with fresh episodes exploring the world of independent film. To keep up to date with latest episodes, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If you love what we're doing, the best way to help us grow is to subscribe, like, and share the show with your fellow cinephiles. We also want to hear from you, so please leave a comment on our latest episode and join the conversation. Finally, if you'd like to help keep the projector running, consider supporting us over on Patreon for exclusive rewards. Now, let's get into this month's feature.
Yeah, I'm, what you'd call a journeyman DP. I've been doing this for over 25 years. I live in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, and my parents are European, but I was born in upstate New York, went to film school in San Diego, and then shot up the 5 freeway and sat in a Denny's and circled, ads in the classifieds looking for a gig. The usual cliche PA in Hollywood. But I quickly said in film school, I had done a lot of the DP work because I was one of the few who learned how to use a light meter. The rest of the class didn't. So I've filmed a lot of their films, and that's what I loved, the combination of, science and art in one role, and I became a DP. I've been doing it ever since.
And who would you say are your influences in terms of not just as a writer-director, because I know you write and direct a lot of your projects, but also as a DP or a cinematographer? Who inspires and influences you?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great ones, but Conrad Hall was sort of like the first one I was aware of. I liked his sort of naturalistic use of lighting, and I've always kind of gone in that direction. But Roger Deakins, there's so many amazing cinematographers that have inspired me along the way.
Okay, so just for some people who don't know, Conrad Hall has worked with Sam Mendes a couple of times. American Beauty, Road to Perdition, and actually he worked on an old favorite film of mine going back to the 80s. I don't think a lot of people have heard of this one unless they're hardcore cinephiles. Tequila Sunrise with Mel Gibson, Kurt Russell, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Very, sort of unusual film.
Yes.
So yeah, that's quite a big influence to have. He's quite a legend in that field. Tell me a little bit about yourself then, Michael. Where do you hail from, and what got you into the film business?
Oh yeah. I'm originally from Texas. I was born and grew up there. Left there when I was about 18 and traveled around a lot to many different states, eventually ending up out here, California. Suburb of Los Angeles, and I've always been an artist since I was a child, and draw, paint, sculpt. But one of my huge loves, as Oktay just found out recently, is toys, action figures. So many years ago, I started sculpting action figures, and did that professionally for many years, and still do it occasionally, but not professionally, because professionally now the whole industry has gone digital. It's all digital sculpting. And I tried it and did several projects that way, and it just didn't really fit. I didn't really like it as much as I did traditional sculpting. So I transitioned into the film industry, which was a bit more hands-on, building props and sets and that sort of thing. And that's when I met Oktay on a Western several years ago. I make props for that. All kinds of things, anything that comes up in the script. And then Oktay took a chance and ventured out to give me a chance to make some wildly different things than I've ever done before, which is things that are more appropriate for his movie. And it's been a lot of fun to make, and a completely different process than I've done in the past, but a lot of fun.
It's built me a working Mars car It's sort
Hmm.
of like a dune buggy with six wheels. It drives. It actually drives. It has lights. And I think it was made from parts of a vacuum cleaner, if I'm right.
A lot of
So,
parts of a vacuum cleaner,
yeah,
many other
but
things.
it looks amazing. If you go to our, Kickstarter or our Instagram, you can see some of the pictures of his stuff.
Hmm.
They're just amazing that somebody can make this from scratch by hand. So
It's funny. I'll tell you what this story reminds me of. It reminds me of when I was reading back, I mean, many years ago, and it kind of stuck with me. It reminds me of stories of James Cameron working with Roger Corman on projects like, for example, Battle Beyond the Stars is the one that sticks to my mind, where he
yes,
made a lot of the set pieces out
yes,
of paper mache McDonald's boxes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And you
exactly.
look at that film, and
Hopefully
yes,
we'll
it's
reach that level of
Well, Roger
exposure.
Corman, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Can only
Cameron.
hope. Well,
Let's see what happens.
to tie this all in with the Creator VC guys who I work a lot with and who introduced us,
Mhm.
for this podcast, David Weiner, Ian Nathan, and Robin Block of Creator VC, who do all the In Search of Darkness
Yes.
documentaries, Aliens Expanded, Thing Expanded. The list goes on. I've worked on most of them. And through that, I got to visit with Alec Gillis, who did, a lot of the Aliens
Mhm.
model building, and
Yes.
then uh, Greg Nicotero at KNB EFX Group. I want to get that right.
Mhm.
And there I got to personally see the storyboards for the thing.
Mhm.
I had to, film
Yeah.
them. And so here I'm holding these like yellowed old storyboards and looking at these amazing
Mhm.
pictures. And by doing these documentaries, I said, I want to have my own stories of crazy independent films. And that's where we
Mhm.
are right now. That's what Michael's helping me with. That's what my cast is helping me with. And we're just
Mhm.
doing our own little crazy sci-fi film. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Covalence then. Reading the premise of the film about the main protagonist, Sarah, trying to go through extraordinary means to reconnect with her sister.
Yes.
Uh, it's not dark. It's set in an interesting dystopian future, isn't it? But in reading the premise and seeing where you draw your influences from things like we mentioned Ex Machina. You weren't here, Michael, sorry, but we
Yeah.
mentioned Ex Machina. From the clips I've seen and the premise that I've read, there's definitely an element of that. And it reminds me of also films like Gattaca and
Yeah.
definitely Arrival as well, 2016's Arrival.
Okay.
Um, what was the influence for this film? What was the inspiration behind making it?
Yeah, so there's two things that sort of converged in my mind, and the first one it's real and it's quite sad. When I was young, I had a friend and her sister was being treated for a suicide attempt, um, and she was in the hospital, and then at some point escaped her room, went to the roof of the hospital and jumped off. Now she survived, which was amazing. Thank goodness she's alive today, everything's okay. But I was there when these events happened and it was very shocking and never left me. So that was one thing. And then I have two daughters and watching them grow up with their sort of secret language, the bonds of sisters, it's quite an amazing thing to watch firsthand. And these two ideas orbited in my head and I started writing it 5 years ago. And Covalence is it's not about my daughters or about this other story. It's what came out of those ideas or those experiences.
Okay, so when the film is finished and it's playing before the backers, whether they have their own digital copy or it's a special screening, what do you hope your audience or your viewers and supporters will get out of the finished film?
Entertainment. It's just to entertain people. I don't try to teach anything. There's no moral lessons. Uh, there's just something beyond intellect that I hope people get, just a visceral experience.
Mhm.
And it lives in a gray zone of there's no right and wrong. There's a lot of questioning that comes from it.
Mhm.
So entertainment.
Okay.
How are you guys?
We're
Good.
very well. I can only speak. Well, I think we're all having fun here, getting to know each other.
How much time have you had to spend with that director yet?
We've had a good 20 minutes.
Well, you learned a lot about him, but he has secrets, and so you may not get to all of them, but I will tell you, he is very good at what he does.
Yes,
And
I
there's
can.
no doubt about that.
Mhm.
People that are involved in this project are here because we believe in him.
Yes.
We adore him, and he is the real deal in
Oh,
Hollywood.
Kim, I'll send you your check later.
I'm sorry. I thought you sent it already.
Uh,
Yeah,
Well, look,
no,
actually, it's fortuitous you joined us when you did, because I was in the middle of asking Michael actually about what his thoughts were when Oktay asked him to collaborate on this project, and by some by some sort of strange twist of fate, you've answered that question for yourself. So I think you pretty much summed it up. That you've got a lot of admiration for Oktay, you like his work, and so that's attracted you, which is great.
yes,
And we'll talk more
yes.
about your part of Max in the film shortly. I just want Michael to share his views on what he first thought when he was asked to work on the project and what pushed him. So, Michael, please.
Well, immediately I was interested as soon as Oktay told me he was doing a science fiction type movie. I mean, that's one of my favorites. I love science fiction. I love fantasy. I love, anything like that. So of course I wanted to jump on, and I liked Oktay a lot. Oktay's a very good guy, and one of the first interactions, maybe not one of the first, but a very interesting interaction that he and I had together was on the set of one of these westerns, and the director and the shot and the camera placement was I happened to be on a very tall piece of scaffolding with Oktay, um, looking at the shot through his camera, and there was one big part of the set that was uh, not period, and it was exposed, and it was going to be a great deal of work to try to fix this situation from my end. And Oktay said, no, let's just he snapped off a branch from a nearby tree and placed it in front of his camera strategically to cover this little piece of set that was incorrect. And off we went. And it was a 10-second fix. It worked beautifully. It put a piece of great foliage in the foreground of the shot. It looked fantastic, and it saved me possibly hours of work and the whole crew waiting on me. So that was one of my first interactions that really made me see that this is a great guy to work with.
Mhm. So I'm now going to switch to Kim because he's taken time to join us from his busy event. So Kim, you've told us how much you admire Oktay, and you obviously sing his praises in terms of him as a person, his capabilities, his skills as a filmmaker. So obviously that's just a few of the things, sorry, that attracted you to go and work with him. But what was it about the story uh, and your character that drew you to want to be involved in this project? You're on mute, Kim.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just
That's
wanted to
okay.
save you guys from all the noise around me. That is a great question because Max is such an interesting character. It is Oktay developed this guy, and when I read this, is like, okay, when and where? Because he is that type of guy where I think our audience will want to know a little bit more about this character, and actually they'll it- what they find is what they find, and I just think that it's mysterious enough for me to want to be engaged. I love the mystery. I love the fact that that Oktay has developed this guy to be just that person who fixes things, gets things done. And you may not know how, he gets them done, but things happen. And when he fulfills these obligations, which he does because that's his reputation, then I think our crowd, our fan base, will want to know more about Max.
In terms of direction, then, Oktay, when you came to direct Kim in this in the film, what directions did you give him to help get in character? And then Kim, how did you interpret his directions and his notes in turn? How did you sort of then embody and bring that character to life? So we'll start with Oktay.
Sure. So, I believe that the adage, directing is 90% casting. So I didn't hold open auditions. I went through the catalog of the people I've met over, the last quarter century, and I said, that's the guy I want for this. That's the lady I want for that. So they were cast. It was just a request. I didn't make them audition or anything. Then I had them read the script. We did read throughs and scene rehearsals. And then I rewrote to kind of put it in their voice. Kim speaks a certain way, you speak a certain way, we all speak certain ways. So trying to force an actor to say lines in a script that aren't how they would say it doesn't make sense to me. So I rewrote the script. I think, and I rewrite actually between each shoot. We're about halfway done actually through the shooting process. So I rewrite and change mostly the dialogue. And then by the time we got on set, Kim, I felt, knew what this character was. I did give him some like high level things like, he's like a Faustian devil, the fixer, a hustler, but play it as you will. And I think over directing just confuses a lot of actors. You can kind of pretend to direct and tell them all kinds of stuff, and then they just like, what are they talking about? They've totally lost their thought. But if you cast directly, give some high level instructions, then you trust the actor. And that's how I go about it. So
I will tell you, this is my turn now.
Yes.
So he is the actor's director. He is that guy that he's open to ideas. He's open to those things that come out of your mouth better because you are that person or you've assembled that character in your brain. He's very open to seeing how things work. Let's try it this way. Let's try it that way. Let's try another way. You got another way? You got another way you want to say it? How wonderful that is, especially when you're engaged and involved. You have the lines and you are trying to get them out of your face and embody the character. So no better director than that is to know what the actors are all about. And since he chose us, all we got to do is deliver and come through and be that person, embody that character, and that's wonderful.
This film reads very much like it has a future. It has a setting in the future. This is for Oktay, Michael, and then please, Kim, feel free to interject with your views. It has a very it's very grounded in set in the near future. So it's going to be a very visual film from what I can tell, especially judging by Michael's zoom background there. I can see the Martian vehicle there. So Oktay, how do you balance directing? I mean, I know you're a cinematographer by trade, director of photography, but how do you balance the visual with the thespian the thespian direction when it comes to the film? And how does Michael help you in terms of visualizing the setting?
Yeah, so there, I would say two different things. With the actors and shoot, because I shoot it as well. So that's another thing. What I generally have my AC, set up the camera, build it. I may go around doing some lighting while the actors are dressing and getting a little bit of makeup. And then I just get them on set without the camera. And I usually stand in the place where I assume I'm going to have the camera for most, for various shots. And we just rehearse it. we do it. I don't like to kill it, like where they lost the energy of it. So you kind of get it to a point. It may not be perfect, but you feel like the energy is escalated to the right moment. And you get everybody, in sort of, it's like tuning a guitar. I feel like it's like everyone's like singing right at that right note. And then I say, okay, I'm gonna grab the camera. And then, I'll usually, depending on the energy of the actors, maybe I'll do their close up first because they're right there. Maybe if we're not quite rolled into it, I'll stick to the wide and say, we don't have to go 110%. With 95 is okay. It's the wide shot. So that's how I do. I kind of split the working with the actors and the lighting and shooting. But it's a lot. Even if I just have a few scenes set up for a day, by the end of the day, there's so much has gone through my head, riding this kind of crazy, I don't know, wagon through the wilderness, but that's how it feels like sometimes. One time that really stuck out, Max and Sarah are standing out sort of on an overlook. It's sunset, so we had only a few chances at it. And I realized too late, they're listening to a hologram from somebody else. I did not have it recorded. And so all of a sudden I had to memorize, a good chunk of dialogue myself because there's nobody else on set. It's an indie film, there's like 3 of us. And so I said, give me 2 minutes. And I don't know where I pulled it from because I am not an actor. I memorized this piece of dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I'm shooting, I'm saying the holograms lines. It was like, I thought, what am I doing? I'm nuts. This is like the craziest way to make a film. But we talked about earlier, independent films. That's how you do things sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Movie history and movie making is filled with partnerships between the director and their effects art directors and what have you. So I'm thinking of people like John Landis and Rick Baker, Tom Savini and George Romero, and Tom Savini and Greg Nicotero. So, Michael, in terms of your collaboration with Oktay, did you find that you brought plenty of ideas to the table, even to the point where you felt you had to convince him that this was the way to go to get the desired effect?
Oktay has been extremely open in his, I guess, trust in me to build. He's been very free with just let me make what I want, and then he's going to incorporate it into his film however he does. And he's given me incredible freedom in that way to just design it myself. He's given me the most basic desire.
You
like
can show them the terrible sketch I gave you. This is how bad. Well, maybe not. It's pretty
I can. Let me
embarrassing.
grab it. I want to show you something. Give me 1 second.
I have no skills for drawing, so Michael looking at it's like like a kindergartner, who doesn't pass kindergarten.
But
my 7-year-old son and I were just talking about your art this morning. I won't tell you what was said.
But actually, I wanted to say, don't some directors actually just use stick figures or basic?
Many do, including the one you're talking to right now.
To convey, to get their message across. And it takes someone to come along and go and interpret that and think, yes, I see what you're trying to say. I'm not going to tell you
what this is because you'll see it in the film.
Hang on.
Well, thank goodness it's keying out, Michael.
Oh, yeah. Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess you're not going to get to see it.
My mystery. Yeah.
Hold on.
Thank goodness I've been saved. No. I'm doing it here.
Oh, hang on. I can see ahead. I can see ahead.
You get the idea. We don't need more than that, Michael.
No. I get the idea.
Right, we don't need more than that. You do get the idea. But yeah, he has given me tremendous freedom. He tells me basically what he wants, a Mars rover, and then just lets me go from there. Or I need a spaceship. It has to be not a battleship, but I'll show you. but more of a, I don't know
It's a
exactly how to
luxury
use it.
liner, so
There
to
you go.
speak,
Like a,
like a
yeah.
cruise ship in the sky. Yeah.
So this is a ship that will be being used.
And when
Oh yeah,
when
yeah,
you
I like
see
that.
these things just like from an iPhone snapshot, we're not going to photograph them like that. They're going to be
Yes,
backlit,
of course.
Mhm.
in a black void. We're going to have, atmospheric stuff. We're going to have VFX augmentation,
It'll be shot
so
obviously as a model in a film
it'll
as
look
opposed
totally
to just a
different.
photograph of a
I,
toy.
I don't want to give it like the way the film looks, we've shot about half of it. It doesn't look like a B movie. It's a drama with sci-fi elements, and
Mhm.
it's sort of elegant in nature. I just want to be clear on that because when we show something like that, we're taking the veil off,
Yeah,
and
I
letting
understand.
people in because that's independent filmmaking. But it's how you put all that stuff together with finesse to make it,
Mhm.
feel real.
One is, how does it feel to be working on an independent project? Because from your biography, I can see that you've worked on some studio projects. You've guest starred on one of my favorite shows, How to Get Away with Murder, and you've been a guest on 911 as well. But how does it feel to work on an independent picture, especially one that is not totally effects driven, because there's a lot of character exploration here, but certainly where the effects are playing a part. What's the experience like for you?
There's no other place I'd rather be. I'll tell you that right now. The independent film is where the artist's expression is total. You've got a director, you've got a writer, cinematographer, you've got production managers, you've got set designers, you've got everybody who has and all shreds of imagination pushing forward for independent film, not studio backed. You're not going to make a grip on this thing. You are here for the artist's expression. And to me, if I'm allowed to portray a character in a film that's independent because somebody decided I was the one that they had in their vision when they were writing this thing or were actually thinking about making it, I am so ecstatic to be there. And that's true in every independent film that I've been in. It is all about the creators. And I'm so in that game, I jump both feet in without a problem. And I don't need a life jacket. I'm good.
Sounds great. So, Oktay and Michael, I want to come back to you because you mentioned earlier that all the effects and the art design and everything in this film is practical, hardly any CGI. And it's great that that's happening because practical effects seem to be being more, being embraced by cinema audiences. And you have a champion in those, I suppose, in Christopher Nolan with The Odyssey. I think many people were surprised that so much of that film was shot with miniatures, matte paintings, practical effects. Do you feel sort of emboldened and relieved that audiences, whether they love indie films or blockbusters, are embracing and enjoying once again this resurgence in practical effects, especially with AI sort of forebodingly hanging over everyone's heads like some sort of sword of Damocles?
Michael, do you want to take it or?
Um, you first, and then maybe I'll say something.
Yeah. So what I would say is I'm not trying to chase any fad either way. All I know is when I see actors in practical environments or with practical objects, it feels real to me. So as a filmmaker, I just gravitate towards it, not because I'm pushing an agenda of uh, going back to, practical effects. They just work. There's no reason to get rid of something that's working,
Yeah.
you know? And I know the actors feel much better actually doing something in a scene than pretending to do it. I have I have a studio here. Behind that door is a green screen.
Mhm.
I haven't used green screen for any of the film
Okay.
because I want my actors to be in as real a situation as I can. So I rent practical locations. I have Michael build props. I buy things, I have this Amazon shopping list of weird props I buy because I want them to be tactile. That's not to say if there's an effect I need that I'll need a visual effect for, I'm not going to shy away from it because
Yeah.
just trying to make a good film.
Okay. Michael?
I agree. I agree with all of that. Digital effects certainly have their place. There have been some phenomenally good ones. I mean, the first one that pops to mind is Gollum in Lord of the Rings, where you can see him moving and you can see the muscles sliding over his skeleton under the skin. It's perfectly done. It looks absolutely convincing. But to Oktay's point, I mean, there in some situations, the reality of something is also noticeable. Like you can tell if something is physically there or not. The way he's going to shoot it, it'll look like these little miniatures, these little models that I'm making are gigantic, huge things. I've already seen a couple of shots, and it's fantastic what he's doing with the physical things that I'm making.
Mhm. Okay, so let's talk about the Kickstarter campaign because you're in the middle of production at the moment, but you still need some further funding, and you've chosen to go through Kickstarter uh, to get backers to support the film for the final round of funding. So, two questions then. Why choose Kickstarter? This is for you, Oktay, obviously.
Yeah.
And the remaining funds that you're raising, what are you looking to use? What is that? Where is that going to be used?
Yeah. So from what, I talked to Robin Block from Creator BC. He's the king of, crowdfunding. He gave me, we had some one-on-one conversations, and then he said, go take a class. I took an 8-hour Kickstarter class.
Hmm.
And yes, I haven't done all of the things on it, but I learned a lot, what to do, what not to do. And it's really about building a community. This is talking to you, doing the Kickstarter. This is about building a little bit of awareness about the film. Yes, the Kickstarter money will help me get over the line, finish this thing. It's going to pay for cast, crew, rentals, locations. I'm self-funding. If once you look at our Kickstarter, you'll realize that can't be all the money for the film. I'm self-funding it, but it will certainly help us. And it's going to allow me to pay some crew and some cast and locations that maybe I wouldn't have been able to, and I would have had to choose something lesser. So it definitely every bit ups the production value of the film. Thank goodness we're 130% funded amazingly on Kickstarter. We had a nice groundswell of people supporting us, but you can add more because it will all just go into the production value of the film.
Hmm. And generally, then a question for all three of you, because you're obviously taking time to get the word out about the project and to encourage more people to back the film. So, in terms of not just your own roles as writer director, as art director, as prominent actor playing an important role, I'm not blowing smoke. I assure you. I think your role is quite important from what I've read. But in terms of your roles individually, how much pressure does it put on you to act as the voice of the film to encourage people to support? If that
You
makes
know,
sense.
yeah, I am not a social media person or, an on-camera person. So all these interviews like this one that I have to really jump out of my skin, get out of the comfort zone and do these things. But somebody told me, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So we have to toot our horn, get people excited because they should be excited, get
Mhm.
involved. You can become part of, making this film. You'll be in the credits. There's even little roles you can get if you want to
Yes.
pledge. So, you know, yeah, it's just, I've had to, get out of my skin. It is a lot of pressure because I'm not a person who speaks like this normally, but I feel strongly about the project. I'm excited about it. I've got all these great people, the people you see here, and my other cast, my other crew. They're all behind me, and so, I'm going to see it through to the end.
Michael, same question for you.
Um, I don't really feel any pressure at all. I like talking about movies. I like talking about things that I enjoy. Science fiction and fantasy. It's what I do when I hang out with my friends, my artist friends. We get together and sculpt quite often. And inevitably we're talking about movies and science fiction and that sort of thing. So this is fun for me.
And
How it
Kim.
goes.
In for the penny, in for the pound. Come on, there's no pressure. When you have something this good, you're gonna want to talk about it.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
not there's not something that says, well, oh, and trust me, I've been there before in some of these movies that I've done in my lifetime. You will never see them because I hope some of them never see the light of day. But this is not one of them. This is the one. This is some of this work in here is matter of fact, all the work in here is fantastic. And 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 I think once the audience gets a toehold in it, yeah, will they clamor and demand and pick it outside Oktay's office for season two, or
Sequel.
where's the
See,
sequel? Yeah, they're gonna be outside his office with signs and things. So
It's
I
really
mean
hot
that's
out
the
there. I'm not sure if they want to do that.
well,
It's
we're talking
100
winter.
degrees.
First of all, we're talking winter, so it'll be okay. So I'm I have zero problem going out and hawking this film and selling my body for it. It's going to be okay. And I think that if an actor feels that way about the project they're in,
Mhm.
you can't lose. And I think I'll just echo the sentiment of actors that are in this film that they know that they're in for a real treat. So I'm good
Okay.
By the way, Kim's up for
if that
a
helps.
second Emmy Award this month. So if
wow.
there's
Oh,
any
wow.
Academy members, Television Academy, right, Kim, they
Yeah.
can vote for him. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure we can stretch that far, but I know somebody at BAFTA.
Hey, why not?
Oh,
Oh,
I
it
think we should.
sounds
I think we should just whatever we can do to push BAFTA as well.
sounds good to me. So, how far into production are you, and how much over the line do you need these funds to get you then, Oktay?
So I'm halfway through. We have about
Mhm.
a 30-day schedule. It's a little bit um, nebulous, but it's about 30 days of shooting. Um, Halfway through, and these funds will really help. This will at least allow me to. There's a few more locations I have to rent, and then to get some of the actors to be able to commit the time. A lot of them are just helping me out at this point, but it's asking a lot. So this will, I'll be able to pay something to have people show up.
Mhm.
It's an expensive town, and people have to work. So with these funds, I can secure some of that.
Okay. No, I mean, are there any ambitions for the film to tour festivals, for any other special screenings, or maybe a limited indie cinema run?
You know, Definitely festivals and then some sort of distribution. I shot a film for another director, producer, and they successfully self-distributed the film in 70 theaters, which I was completely amazed by. And they're finishing that run shortly, and then they're going to sell it to streaming. But I thought, oh, the other day I thought maybe that's a route to go because I've had many distribution deals that they just take the film and you get like $2 back, and they don't really push it, So I'm not super excited about a lame distribution deal. If there's a good one on the table, of course, we'll consider it. But I'm also not opposed to four-walling theaters and doing a tour like that. Why not? There's all kinds of ways to go these days.
And this is for all three of you. And I just want to ask, what is it about independent film that has the three of you coming back for more? Because you all have the experience. You've got a great body of work. But obviously indie film is where your heart lies. What is it about independent film in general that keeps you coming back for more?
Um, I love making films. I always have. I started when I was 7 or 8,
Mhm.
and I never lost the joy of it. I didn't get into this for making money or fame. That could have done accounting. I would probably do better, So I love it. I love making art. I think art is a human endeavor, and most of the joy from art comes from doing it. Once I'm done with the film, there's sort of I feel like a loss. It's like coming back from a vacation. You're like, oh gosh, I wish I could go back on vacation. And every
Mhm.
time I do a project, a film, and it's over, I look for the next one, for the next adventure.
Michael,
Um, hmm, I'm not exactly sure how I want to answer that.
honestly,
Um, I don't know. It's hard to say. I like the freedom, I suppose, of indie films is as I said about Oktay, his approach to this was putting a lot of trust in me and letting me do what I want. And I suppose the second thing would be um, the people. I mean, it's a much more personal experience working with a small group of people than it is working on a bigger thing where there are literally hundreds of people, and you may not know anyone there. You might know one person, you might know two. Um, it's a lot more impersonal on a big film. I have been on a couple of those, and it's very impersonal.
Mhm.
Um, for the most part. I mean, not always, of course, but for the most part. But just see the people and the freedom of working on independent films, I think is very appealing.
Actually, just share an observation on that. I years ago I interviewed Christopher Olin Ray. Um, obviously, he worked on a lot of asylum projects, and he was telling me that one of the main differences between working on an independent film and a bigger studio production is that studio production the roles tend to be quite specialized. Whereas on an indie film, you could be called in to do a bit of second unit directing, do a bit of cinematography, do a bit of camera work. But you do all these different bits and pieces. But along the way, you pick up so much knowledge that when you go to work on a big studio film, you actually find you know more than some of the specialists. Would you say that's a fairly accurate assessment?
I think that is absolutely true. Yes, because of the projects that Oktay and I have worked on together, small crews mean you're doing a lot of things. You're
Mhm.
working in a lot of departments as opposed to much bigger budgets. They are very specialized. There's one person that does this and nobody else touches it, and there's another person that does that and
Mhm.
nobody else touches that. So yeah, indie and small budget is you wear a lot of hats and you learn a lot of things.
And finally, Kim, what is it about working on indie films that you love and it keeps drawing you to work on projects like this one?
I think a lot has to do with, and I mentioned this before. Look, the honor and privilege that I get when somebody's doing an indie and says, "We need you to do this role." It's like, really, me? It's one of those things where I don't know. I don't have the ego to say, of course it should be me. But it's one of those things where it is me. You've chosen me to portray this character. I'm honored, privileged, and I'm going to do my damnedest to deliver and make sure that before I leave that room that day, wherever we're shooting or studio or car or garage, that the director gets what they want from me. Blood, sweat, and tears. I don't care if you got to talk about my mama real bad. It's one of those things where you just need to get from me what you want, your vision of what you need to make this film better. And to me, that's independent film. It is so much the bliss of what this business is all about.
It's,
So
it sounds like it really inspires you to bring a lot to the table and bring your A game. I mean, I'm not doubting that you don't do that on other projects, but that you almost seem to really want to just pour it all out into whatever project you're working on, especially an indie one.
yeah, I think I mean, that should be, I don't know, the heart of the actors, to give what it is you can until you bleed. You give until you can't give anymore.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I that's just the way I feel about it. It's not as if I'm just stepping on board because of name or fame or anything. It's like, okay, I got this character. And yeah, some days are better than others when you shoot. Hopefully those are the days that matter and count, and the hours and the times and the minutes. And they play well in the eyes of the director, and I'm happy when that happens. Ecstatic when that happens. When you can go home and go, yeah, we did it today. Not that I was the greatest today, but we as a team, as a collective team of independent people who are in film, did this today. And then when you get to the final copy of what it is you've done, you go, yeah, we did that. And how much fun is that? I mean, it's it should make every actor quiver to be
Mhm.
able to feel that way when they leave the set or finish a film. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel. I opened up, I exposed my vulnerability, maybe but that's just the way I feel about it. That's the honesty in independent film for me. Just driving it home.
Well, that's it for this episode of Cine-Bijou. Thanks for joining us as we pulled open the curtain once more, revealing the world of independent film and the creative mavericks who make it all happen. You can find this and every other episode on Spotify, YouTube, and of course, Apple Podcasts. And if you enjoyed this episode, why not leave a star review or drop us a comment? It's a small gesture, sure, but it means the world to us, and it helps fellow film fans find their way to us too. Make sure you also follow us on all the usual social media haunts: Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. And for reviews, features and more, why not pay us a visit at our website www.cine-bijou.co.uk. And if you are spreading the word, please don't forget to use the hashtag #SupportIndieFilm, because every share helps keep great stories in the spotlight.